Hello friends. Today in this discussion we will talk about advertising agencies, how they function, who are the people who are employed in these agencies, who are responsible for creating those wonderful ads that we see, hear, view on the billboards, on televisions, on our radio sets, on the mobile screens, or maybe in your mail, or even the pamphlets that come with the newspaper. Aren't these interesting stuff? Who are those great creative minds who are behind making these advertisements? And what are the procedures they go through? Do they do it in their homes? Are there specific places for that? So today, the discussion is about these people and the place where they work. These are known as advertising agencies. Let us discuss how they function. But before that, what is actually an ad agency? An advertising agency, you can say, is a service business dedicated to creating, planning and handling advertising and sometimes even other forms of promotion for its clients. An ad agency is an independent entity. It is independent from the client and it provides an outside point of view to the effort of selling the client's products or services. Now this is very, very important. If you have your own product, you will have a subjective view regarding it. You will love it because you would have created it. How will you market it to people objectively? How will you see beyond your product? Who are your competitors? What are the people actually thinking about it? So to get that objectivity into it, if you employ an outsider, that is an agency, it always helps. But is that the only reason that people employ ad agencies for advertising their products? No, there are more reasons to that. An ad agency is actually a specialized kind of a organization that does its work. Now those people are experienced in dealing with products and services of different kinds, but their experience is in particular kinds of promotional materials. So they know it better than you or I would know. So when we have a product, we would be experts in those products. But in promoting those products, these people are the experts. Now the next question would be, are all the ad agencies the same? Of course not. There are different types of agencies. Let's look at maybe 2-3 types of these. Ad agencies vary for their size, the kind of jobs they do. So as per the size, you can classify them. As per the specific jobs that they do, maybe they can be specialized agencies. Then they can be in-house agencies, they can be outside agencies. So types of ad agencies vary from 1 or 2-person shops which rely mostly on freelance talent to perform most functions, small to medium-sized agencies, large independent ones, and multinational multi-agency conglomerates. So as per the size, they can be either few people just working, they give you their talents for the creative inputs, then maybe for production they go to someone else, for publishing they go to another person, for media planning, they go to someone else. So they would employ the freelancers and these can be 1-2 people. The second one, like we said, can usually be the small or the medium ones. Then they would have lesser people. The watertight compartments don't usually exist. The one who is writing the copy might also be making the creative for them. The one who is buying the media might also be doing the media planning. So in small and medium agencies, the functions merge. And you don't have exclusivity that much. But as agencies grow bigger, when you have multinational ones, those who have their offices maybe in different cities, different countries, they are spread nationally and internationally, then they are bigger conglomerates who have many agencies as part of them. Today we shall look at some of these. Then there is another kind, full service agencies or specialized agencies. So for instance, a full service agency will make your creatives, do the production, draw out the media plan, and till the publishing, the agency will take care of it. On the other hand, they can be the ones who are very, very specialized. So they are specific media planning agencies, media buying agencies, media selling agencies, or specific creative boutiques. So these are different kinds, depending on your needs, the budgets, the availability. As clients, people go to these different kinds of agencies. Now let me come back to the question that I raised in the beginning. Why would you need an agency? If you're a student of mass comm, chances are that you have studied advertising, right? You understand its nitty-gritties or small bits. Then why an agency? Friends, I could give you 4 basic reasons for that. The expertise. As we said, an ad agency deals with products day in and day out. They are more expert in dealing with the promotional materials. They know it better which media to buy. They have their plans intact. So for expertise, you go to agencies. Second is outside resourcing. If, for instance, somebody has to make a TV ad, so the advertising agency would have their agencies, in turn, their agents, who would tie up maybe with actors, with music directors. Even an ad is a small film. A TV ad, FTVC, is a small film. So they would have tie-ups with these people so they can have outside resourcing, which a client per se would not have. I'll just take a small example, maybe Dabur or Hamdard. They are known to be great health Ayurvedic product brands. But if a person who is employed in Dabur or in Hamdard understands the medicinal values of Ayurveda, is good at making the products, might not necessarily understand how to promote these products to its target audience. So to give this outside resourcing, they are required. Then very important reason to hire an agency is the outside planning. For example, you look at a fish in a bowl. The fish thinks that water is my world. When you look at the fish from outside, you see this is a water bowl. There is water in it and there is the fish. Besides, there are trees, maybe there is, the fish bowl is put in a room, so there are the furnitures of the room, so you can have an outside view. But that fish would only have the inside view. So if you don't have to be the fish in that small bowl, you are better employing an agency to give you an objective planning. Then agencies do specialized jobs. Buying the media, planning the media, creatives, talking to the clients, doing the production work, all these are very, very specific specialized jobs. So agencies are better in them because that is their specific job role. So it is better to employ an agency for a client. Or an account. Now what is an account? As students of advertising, we do understand that a client in advertising language is called an account. On your screens, you can see clear demarcation and definition of an account in an advertising world. In the advertising business, a client's job is referred to as an account. The business that the agency handles is treated as account. Usually, different agencies have an expertise in handling different kinds of accounts. For example, consumer durables, FMCGs, fashion clients. So different agencies specialize in them. So if you go and work in an ad agency tomorrow, or maybe you are still working in one, who would you call an account? The client whose business you are handling for advertising is your account. So don't get confused with the balance wala account, as in the commerce. In commerce you study accounting, balancing, not that. A client is an account in the advertising language. Now let us come to the different departments of an ad agency. Who are the people who work on these accounts? If we look at broadly, we have 6 departments. These can, as I said, in smaller agencies, they can merge. They are no watertight departments. In bigger agencies, they can still be further divided and demarcated as parts of these different departments. But broadly, in an agency, you have an account planning or a client servicing department. You have a creative department, production department, media planning department, a research department, and administrative departments. So if we look, these are usually they work in this sequence when they work as teams. A client servicing person talks to the client, understands their needs, brings it to his team, who are the account planners. They do the planning as to understanding what the product or the service is, who the competitors are, what do we want to say, what are the key ideas in the mind of the client, how do we want to put it further. So client servicing and account planning people work on that. We'll come to detailed roles. Then they go to the creative department telling them these are our particular needs. Please design our creative accordingly. Maybe the creative people will have to write a copy for that. They will have to make visuals, graphics, all that happens. And then the final production happens at the production department, be it a TVC or a radio jingle that needs to be recorded, or maybe a print ad that needs to be designed in terms of graphics. After the production department, now you have a wonderful ad which is made. But this ad is with the purpose of selling a product. So this ad goes to the media planning department where they see that on which media this ad has to go. Whether if it is a TVC, on which TV channel, at what time of the day, in the news programs or maybe in the afternoon transmission, on which kind of platforms, on an OTT platform, in the cinema hall or in some TV channel, where. So the media planning department draws out all those plans. Now all these departments cannot function without research. So if there are bigger agencies, they do have specific research departments where they research, they do the SWOT analysis for the brand or the product or the service. Then they do the competitor analysis, who are the competitors. They go to the target audience and consumers to understand what they need, how they would click. All this the research people do. And then of course to look after all these people, there is an HR or an administrative department. The salaries, the leaves, the grievances. If there is all that human resource working, you need someone to be looking after them, of course, like any other bigger organization. So these are the broad departments. Now let us come to them one by one. The account planning or the client servicing department. Account planner is the bridge between the business side and the creative side of a marketing campaign. So the business side is the client who is paying for the job, who is bringing the business to your agency. And the creative side are the copywriters, the graphic designers, the creative directors who have to actually create. This idea in mind of the client has to come on paper or on the screen in terms of a creative. So getting this idea till here, a bridge is usually the account planner. He brings on those things. So his account planner or the client servicing person is usually called the face of the agency to the client and face of the client to the agency. So this person does a very brilliant job of coordinating, bridging these two sides. What is the actual job of the account planner? The account planner or client servicing personnel is that member of the agency's team who is the expert through background, training, experience and attitudes at working with information and getting it used, not just marketing research, but all the information available to help solve a client's advertising problem. So this person has this experience, all this expertise where he has to look at these things. And what are his or her, sorry, I don't mean to be a gender biased person. So it can be he or she. I'm just using the term as a common blanket term for men and women both. So the key duties of an account planner or a client servicing person are to get involved in the creation of marketing strategies and ads, to bring the consumer to the forefront of the process and to inspire the team to work with the consumer in mind. After all, whatever ads you are making are made for a certain target group or a target consumer, right? So you have to keep that person in mind. So if you say, oh, I've made a wonderful ad and this ad is wow, it has very much of intellect and great. And if I say, what is the ad for? You tell me, oh, it is for that 50 paisa children's toffee. So will a child be able to understand your intellect in that? If you have to make an ad, you have to make it with a target consumer in mind. What is the income level? What is the age? What is the social background? So all these demographics, psychographics that you have learned up till now to study will be used here. So to keep that consumer in your mind at the forefront and making your creative team do ads accordingly is also a key duty of your account planner. Another duty is to work with the consumers as partners in the process of developing those ads. So here you go through those pre-testing, post-testing researches where the consumer is also part of the process of making these ads. Now, to do all these things, this and much more, to be a bridge between the client and the creative side of the agency, to be keeping the consumer on your top forefront, to be making these creatives, putting them to different parts of the agency. Oh, this is a huge work. What are the abilities that an account planner would need? What are the key attributes that you would want in that person? So they are typically people who are interested in meeting people and talking to the consumers. Planners have the ability to bridge together their understanding of the consumer and awareness of how this knowledge will be used within their own business. It is the account planner's job to understand and draw insightful conclusions, not only from the consumer, but also from the brand. And the essential attributes that an account planner needs, the traits of his personality that need to be there are, of course, this person would need to be an intelligent, experienced person with strong observational skills and a good judgment power. Also, they need skills to conceptualize and think strategically, to be able to argue their viewpoint coherently. So if somebody says, oh, this is not possible, why are we making this creative? This person should have such clear understanding and also conviction that they should be able to convince them and tell them that why this is being done and how they have to do that. This person, of course, needs to be a team player. Having that arguable quality does not mean that you are a lonesome person and alone you are standing there as a hero with Hercules with complete jobs of the client on your head and your shoulders. No, you have to be a team player. You have to keep your creative team with you. You have to keep your servicing team with you. So this person also needs to have a strong personality to be able to work with this team. They must also have some experience in market research, sales, advertising, communications, and even people management. Oh, there are a lot of attributes they would need, right? But don't worry, if you are a generally aware person who loves meeting people, talking to them, and has a sharp understanding, you can think of being an account planner. The roles that an account planner must fulfill are, they must discover and define the advertising task. They must also prepare a good creative brief. A strong creative brief will lead their creative team into making good creatives. They are involved in creative development. During creative conceptualization, it is the account planner's duty to represent the consumer for whom the product is being made and also the client who is actually making the product. They must present the advertising to the client and take their feedback, take it back to the agency, creative departments. So they must all do that. How do they do this? Now, if there are so many jobs, what are the basic things they must keep in mind while they are carrying on these jobs? Planners are the consumer's representative of the account team. They meet the client to determine sales goals and creative strategies. So once the goals are in place, the strategies are chalked out, it becomes a possibly easier job to get the other things in place. They are also responsible for coordinating the creative, media, production staff behind the campaign. Throughout the creative process, they keep in touch with the client to update them on the ad's progress and also keep gaining the feedback. So friends, do you understand how important an account planning or a client servicing department is for the agency? If they are not there, who will the client interact with? But if they are the only ones there, who will make the creatives? Yes, you are right. Now let's move on to the creative department of the agency. The creative department are the people who create the actual ads. They form the core or the backbone of the advertising agency. We all know ads by the creatives that they have been. Those wonderful punchlines, ठंडा मतलब कोका-कोला, हर घर कुछ कहता है, सच हमारा बजाज, बुलंद भारत की बुलंद तस्वीर, or Amul, the taste of India. All these taglines have echoed in our minds. Some creative copywriters sitting there have made these taglines which have stayed on for ages. Doodh Peena Baby, Nirma Si Safedi. All this, we hum this jingle. Sometimes we find ourselves just humming a small advertising jingle. This backbone of the ad agency, the creative people are responsible for making them. Who are the personals in this creative department? Of course, the copywriters who make these wonderful copies, and also the art directors, the creative directors. Now, there's a hierarchy in this department that works. Let us start with the copywriter. A copywriter is a brilliant person who he understands his language, or she is good at the expression. So he or she understands the language, are good at the expression. What do they do? Copywriting is process of writing the words that promote a brand. That can be a product, a person, business, opinion, or even an idea. So if there is something which is just an idea, an idea has to be propagated and it has to be treated like a brand. So a copywriter is a person who writes a copy around this, who uses words that will promote these things. Now it may be used as a plain text, or this copy can be a radio or a television advertisement, or maybe in many other variety of media, online, or on outdoor hoardings, or on transit vehicles. They can be used anywhere. The main purpose of writing this marketing copy or promotional text is to persuade the viewer, the reader or the listener or the audience to buy a product or to subscribe to a certain viewpoint. After the copywriter, let's talk about the art director, who is an integral part of the creative department. The art director is mostly responsible for the visual look and feel of the creative product. And the copywriter has ultimate responsibility for the product's verbal textual content. Now both the art director and copywriter together are responsible for coming up with big, effective, persuasive ideas. So the copy that someone has written, a good copywriter, then the art director who decides the look and feel of the ad, together they would come up with that final ad that you or me see around us. Art directors may also oversee a team of junior designers, image developers or production artists. Apart from art director, there is also one very important person in the creative department. This is the creative director. He is usually heading the department of the creative department head. Now the creative director oversees the design of branding and advertising for a client. They ensure that the new branding and advertising fits in with the client's requirements. They interpret a client's communication strategy and then develop proposed creative approaches and treatments that align with this strategy. So whatever the client's strategy was there, now things have to align. So here the creative director puts logic and creativity together to come up with brilliant creative pieces that would eventually sell. They oversee creative service agencies or departments within a corporation. Ultimately, they are responsible for quality of the final creative work. Now, this creative department works, they are formed into teams. Their permanent partnerships are formed, or maybe on project to project basis, the personal form teams. They generate creative ideas to represent the proposition, the advertisement or the campaign's key messages, and they frequently work with outside design or production studios to develop and implement their ideas. Now, when they work with the outside production studios, we now come to the next department, production department. Now, the production department can either be the in-house department or they can be freelancers who are tied up by the creative department to do the production work. Production department is responsible for the final production of the advertisement copy, jingle or video. What is their working? Usually outsourcing is done from the experts in different fields. So when you have people like Prasoon Joshi who write copies, they also write lyrics for songs and films. So he might not belong to an agency. He earlier was an agency person, then he moved to the other domain, that is films. Now this person can be outsourced to write these ad copies. People like Pradeep Sarkar and many other people that we know of today are popular. Now they can be outsourced. The final production depends on this department, that is the production department. The execution of the idea given by the arts people is done at this stage. What is the expertise of the people who are involved in the production department? People who have contacts with suppliers of various creative media, as in the production people, the musicians, the writers, the location people, the people who provide certain properties for your ad filming. So these are the people who have contacts with suppliers of various creative media, I repeat. For example, they will be advised upon and they have to be negotiated with printers if an agency is producing flyers for a client. So these tie-ups have to be there. Now the personnel who are either part of the production department or who are outsourced are directors, producers, singers, model coordinators, models, set designers, location finders, etc., etc. Now friends, we have understood from the client, we took it to the creative department, then we went to the production and our ad is ready. Now come functioning of the next very important department, that is the media planning department, making the advertisement reach the actual target audience. Remember, this is not a piece of art. It was supposed to sell it to the TG. Now who makes your ad reach the TG? The media planning department. What is their job? On your screens to see. They are responsible for selecting media for advertisement placement on behalf of their clients. Their job is also to entail media planning. And the main aim of a media planner is to assist their client in achieving business objectives through their advertising budgets by recommending the best possible use of various media platforms available to the advertisers. The roles that they play: the media planning personnel analyze the target audience. They keep abreast of media developments. They are involved with reading the market trends, how the markets are changing, what is happening, reading them, analyzing their markets, and also to understand the motivations of the consumers, which often includes psychology and even neurosciences. So these people are involved with all this. They deal with above the line channels such as television, print, outdoors, even with public relations, also with below the line channels like in-store placements, digital media, product placements, other emerging communication channels for all the purpose of ensuring the client's advertising budget is well spent. After all, it is the money that the client is giving. You need it to be well spent. Now, to be a good media planner, what qualities do you need? You must be quick with mathematics, well versed with the latest calculation softwares, abreast with the current trends in media, and also you must have awareness of the target audience and their psychology and demography. You must also have good understanding of the client's strategy. So if you feel numbers excite you and you are a good analyzer of the numbers, maybe media planning is the job for you. Now we come to the next department of an ad agency, which is research department. Now research department can either be an exclusive department or in every department as in accounts, client, media, creative, you would have researchers who would be doing that research side by side while the ad is being made or prepared. Research department is involved with gathering information regarding industry, competition, customer, product or service, as well as presenting findings in verbal written form with recommendations. Now, why do we need a research department in an agency? Advertising research is a specialized form of marketing research conducted to improve the efficiency of advertising. Researchers want to find out what makes people tick and use their market information and research data to guide the campaign process. And what are the kinds of research? You probably know of them. Let me briefly run you through these. Research can be conducted to optimize advertisements for any medium, be it radio, television, print, magazines, newspapers, direct mailers, outdoor billboards, highway buses, trains, or even the internet. Research has to be customized. It can be syndicated, where it can be taken from other places who are doing syndicated researches. It involves pre-testing of your ads and also post-testing after the final product is ready. Now, this is an indispensable function for advertising. Why? Because researchers involve their inputs at every stage of the process, and they are involved at informing, inspiring creative ideas that guide, validate the resulting campaign in the consumer's interests. Now we come to the department that looks after all these departments, the administrative department. Obviously, looking after the personal and the business flow of the agency, with the agencies making money, going in loss, who are the clients, how do we treat them, are the payments coming in time? All this is being looked after by the administrative department. Their working involves regulating the flow of work in the agency, increasing an agency's efficiency and profitability through the reduction of false job starts, inappropriate job initiations, incomplete information sharing, over and under cost estimation, and the need for media extensions. Who are the personnel of these departments? This is typically headed by a traffic manager or a system administrator, as you can call them. In small agencies, without a dedicated traffic manager, one employee may be responsible for managing workflow, gathering cost estimates, and even answering the phone, for example. Large agencies might have traffic departments for 10 or more employees, so they would have different people looking after them. So it would depend, whether it's a small agency or a large agency, that how the administrative department is placed. Now, more or less, you understand that what are the different departments, who are the different personnel, what are the qualities, their job responsibilities that are there. Now, would you like to know which are some famous agencies in the world? So, the largest advertising groups of the world are WPP Group, Publicis, Interpublic Group, Omnicom, Aegis, Havas. These are some of the big groups. Under them come many agencies. So, they are conglomerates. Now, let's have some list of major advertising agencies and marketing groups in the world. According to the trade magazine Advertising Age, you have the major ad agencies are under the Omnicom Group. These are the agencies. I'm naming them just to give you an idea that in this trade of advertising, which are the bigger names. So, according to the magazine Advertising Age, the Omnicom Group is one of the leading groups, under whom come BBDO, DVB Worldwide, TBWA Worldwide, Element 79 Partners, Arnell Group, Roberts and Toller, Martin, Markley and Partners. So many of these agencies come under the Omnicom group. Then you have the WPP group, in which you have famous agencies like Grey Global Group, JWT, Ogilvy and Mather, Young and Rubicon. Then of course there is Interpublic group of companies, which again has Dentsu, Low Worldwide, McCann Erickson, Mullen Advertising, and many more who are part of this Interpublic group. Then there is Publicis Group, who have Leo Burnett, Publicis, Saatchi and Saatchi, and many more are getting added to their portfolios. Then you have many other agencies who are well-known agencies in the world. So some of the well-known agencies where you might want to work tomorrow are Leo Burnett, Equus, FCB Ulka, Hindustan Thompson Associates, IB&W, Mudra Communications, Triton, McCann, Lintas, and sky's the limit. There are many more famous ones. For the Indian agencies, to name a few, the ones that were doing good work in India are Ogilvy and Mather, which is an international agency but also very, very prominent in India. Then there is Percept, Publicis, Rediffusion, RK Swamy, BBDO, Rashtriya, Saatchi and Saatchi again, TBWA, Trikya, Grey, and many more. So now you know what an advertising agency is, and you also know some of the top ones. I wish that you grow yourself up and impress yourself with the profession so much that you can be employed in one of them. And who knows, you might want to start your own agency at some time in life, be it a bigger one or a smaller one, be it a specialized one or a common goal agency, anything. All the best to go and rise in this profession. Thank you. I am Padmini Jain, Assistant Professor, School of Journalism and New Media Studies, signing off for today's discussion. Wishing you all the best.